Now that we have an idea about instrumentation of our value creation engine, what about control? Let's examine a simple process made up of 4 steps, each of which is linked to the other. And let's say the capacity to do work for each step is as shown in the diagram. It doesn't really matter what the process is, but let's use something we can all understand, the sales process. Let's say that the person at the first work center generates leads and can come up with 20 new leads a day. The person at the second work center can qualify 14 leads per day. The highly skilled salesperson can only manage 10 sales calls per day. And at the end of the process, back office has capacity to process 20 deals per day. On the demand side, the manager of the process has been told to allow for a regular demand of 10 sales per day. In the majority of cases, the manager would be looking very closely at costs and would wonder, why do I have all this extra capacity when the bottleneck step of the salesperson can only handle 10 units per day? And this perfectly meets demand. What can I do to remove the excess capacity and balance all the parts to match the demand? As he goes about investigating, he finds that each of the steps in the process has only a 90% chance of producing their full quota of 10. By the laws of statistics, the cumulative probability of getting 10 units out of our process is reduced to 90% to the power of 4. That is 90% times 90% times 90% times 90%, or a cumulative 65%. So let's take variation out of the equation, and we can have the benefit of both removing cost and reliability of delivery. But wait a moment, aren't we forgetting the fact that our value creation engine sits within a broader value chain? If I have 5 different inputs required from 5 different sources, and each of them runs at 90% confidence, then once again, I'll be starting late every third go. And of course, over in customer land, what if market demand changes? If it's lower than forecast, we end up with unsold inventory. And if it's higher than forecast, we miss out on sales opportunities. Solving the problem I've just articulated requires method, the realm of facts, figures, equations, heuristics, and algorithms. It's the heart of the science of work. But a word of caution before we proceed. Thinking like a scientist may be necessary, but it's not sufficient. We need to combine head, heart, and hand, the way an artist does to get the best result. Keeping that in mind, let's proceed to the foundational method of the science of work we use in the Ensemble way. But before we do, let's acknowledge the huge debt of gratitude we have for Dr. Elie Goldratt, physicist, philosopher, and giant in the world of innovations in productivity. He's the one who invented the whole idea of theory constraints and developed and led much of what we now call the TOC body of knowledge.